Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are here for the first match for Fiji and England in their Vancouver Sevens. We've just seen a massive upset. Kenya getting the win over the USA, which now splits this group wide open for anyone to be able to go in there and have a great performance. At the moment in the starting lineup, it is going to be Vakurana Billy. I always say his name wrong. I'm getting there slowly. Then it is Kana Kaiwata, Dalgunu, Nathunu, then Rasaku, Bukayaro, and Nuruvalu as the starting lineup for Fiji. Then looking through at England, it is going to be Jamie Barden, Api Bavandra, and there Adamson, Norton, then Davis, Boyland, and Roddick as the last name there as well. But the next game that we are going to be covering it will be South Africa taking on the Spanish. That one, but that is going to be an exciting game. But straight away, as you can see, it is delayed. That was due to the injury of Perry Baker in the last game up against the Kenyans. He did actually get knocked unconscious, which is why there was a bit of a stoppage there to make sure that he was going to be all right and that it was going to be able to continue. I'm looking at the benches here, and you've got Teba off the bench. Also, it is going to be Jerry Tawai coming off the bench, which is huge. But Nuruvalu, he was scoring a huge amount of tries throughout the last 7 circuits. So I feel he's got a huge opportunity to be able to go in and do a very good job there. But currently for the English, they are wearing the purple kit for this match, I do see. And they'll be excited for another opportunity here to be able to try and take on the Fijians. Now, we've just seen that massive upset. Like I mentioned, that Kenya were able to get themselves a win. Perhaps we do get to see another upset here with England beating Fiji. It would be absolutely massive, as we do need to remember in Singapore Sevens, Fiji lost their first game up against Ireland, but then they went on and won the whole thing. So they did very nicely there indeed. The Argentine international in charge of this game. But yeah, for me, I would say Nuruvalu, also Nathunu, going to be another important player for the Flying Fijians as they look to try and defend their title that they did win for Singapore. But now about to get underway for this game, it will be Frederick Roddick, and we'll be getting us underway here for the English. That is the whistle. Ladies and gentlemen, Roddick kicks us off. And also we have got there, go Fiji, time to grab some popcorn. And there's a little bit of a mistake early on from the English, unfortunately. Dan Norton putting that ball down. So it did lead to straight away the advantage in favour of the Fijians. Currently, England actually ranked 8th compared to Fiji 7th, although Fiji, the more competitions that they do end up winning, which I'm confident that they will win quite a few coming up, the more that they win, the higher they go in the rankings. But I should mention both of these sides will be taking part in the Rugby Sevens World Cup in Cape Town that is coming up just around the corner. Hopefully it does realise that the game has started, and we'll go away from delayed in a very short moment. But now going back across, there's a nice pass wide from Bukayaro. Now some brilliant acceleration here. The skill with the Fijians. Nuruvalu going down the wing. He's got pace. He's got space. He's got another try to his name, Nuruvalu. And he's been able to score once again. He's just a try-scoring machine at the moment. But it was absolutely phenomenal work from the Fijians. I believe Dalgunu was involved in that little offload. In fact, it was actually Rasaku who did find that little pass behind him, looked straight away, saw the man, and then just flicks it back into the hands of Nathunu, who then fires the ball out wide to Nuruvalu, and he does end up scoring the first try of the match for Fiji, the Flying Fiji Ancestors, and they are once again going to be the team to beat in this competition, that is for sure, because they are not an easy side to take down. Not the best drop kick for that one, so it will stay as 5-0 in this game for the Fijians. But their next game is going to be taking place at 9 a.m. They will be up against Kenya in what should be an absolutely phenomenal matchup. And then also another big game that we've got coming up, New Zealand versus Samoa. That is going to be relatively close to that one. And then South Africa versus Australia to close out the night of sevens. Taken nicely. Nathunu there. He is going to be such an important asset in the Fijian lineup. That's a rough pass going to Dan Norton. It was debatably close to 4. Big shove there. But Rasaku able to drag him down. Dan Norton, he's dropped the ball as well. It's gone sideways as the comment from the referee. So now they will be able to keep on going. Jamie Barden now with the carry inside of the 22. Bring it back across. It is going to be Davies now. Once again, pass. And they need to make sure that they don't give this ball up. Bavadra, I should say, is the player there for England. Alex Davis once again goes back across. Good step forward here. It's still just not quite able to go through. It was Jamie Boylan there. Apparently getting so close to being able to get that line break, still driving forward. Bavara wrestle backwards. The Fijian defense has been phenomenal here so far. And one thing I mentioned about in the last Sevens tournament was their discipline was sensational for Fiji. Dan Norton trying to get on the ball, unable to turn it over. This is phase after phase, probably about 7 phases in a row inside of their own 22. Boylan with the rough pass, but it sits up nicely. It is called as forward, though. So now Fiji are going to have themselves another scrum feed opportunity here inside of the 22. But Roddick is disappointed with that one. It just didn't quite sit right for the English, and they weren't able to get out of that 22. Possibly a kicking option could have been a good idea at some stage throughout there, but you don't want to give the ball back to Fiji, because as soon as you do, they score tries. Plain and simple. You can't give a ball to a Fijian in space and not expect them to be able to add the 5 points on the board for the Fiji side. Scrum is fed in. It's going to be available at the back. Rasahu now passes it back. It's going to be a good step there and a beautiful offload from Nathuno now. Nice little flick on the inside. A little bit of a spin there on the tackle of Dalgunu. Now driving straight at the line. Nathuno goes in. And that will be the second try of the match now for Fiji. And they are on an absolute tear currently up against the English. But Waisia Nathuno has been able to score that try. Beautifully done. And it's just using the size of the captain. Vukuranabili. And then just nicely done on the inside to Nathuno, who does end up scoring the try. He celebrates it well with the Fijian side. And their big game, you'd have to argue, was probably going to be that Kenyan game, but then also the USA. What are we going to see from them now that they don't have Carlin Isles, now that they don't have Perry Baker? But the Fijians, they've got a few debuts from last week, and they are looking like a team on fire. Like another Valo was new in the Seventh Circuit. He is the leading try scorer in the last little while. He's absolutely sensational. Now, they've also got Ioane Teba they could bring off the bench. Jerry Tawai is another name that comes to mind as an option for them. But now Nathuno, not only did he get that try, and now he gets to kick it off. Nope. They took too long for the Fijians. Like they say, that's about the 4th time that we have had someone taking too long to restart. And it's interesting because in Singapore, I don't believe we had that at all. So maybe it's just because they have got the bell there at the Vancouver Sevens that they are able to keep track of it just a little bit easier. Now, getting ready to go once again. A minute and a half left in this first half between Fiji and England. The next game is South Africa versus Spain. Then we've got about an hour and a bit break, and then we will be back for the next game. Red card for Leicester in their game. For anyone wondering about that game between Leicester and Clermont, I'm quite curious to see how it is sitting currently, sitting 22 points to 10 in favour of the Leicester side. So they will be able to go through and win their game, and they will have to take on Leinster in their quarterfinal match of the Champions Cup. Now currently driving forward quite nicely there. It was going to be actually, I believe, was it Adamson? I want to say it was Adamson. Could be wrong though. Now nice pass off from Hoyland. Ball on the outside to Davis. Good run forward. But he has dragged down the end by Nudovalo. Now past him with the bounce. Out the back line, Ravadra. Ball, nice wide cutout pass out to Dan Norton. Just has to run it straight sideways. In fact, almost backwards. But sometimes you got to go backwards to go forwards. And Dan Norton now just tearing the Fijian defence apart. Boyland is unable to hang on to it. And it does become the knock-on once again now. Currently sitting 30 seconds through this game. Or 30 seconds left in this first half, I should mention. Dan Norton not too happy with that one. Ended up just going through the hands of Boylan on his outside. But this is going to be so tricky for the English, because as soon as you give the Fijians an inch, they will take a mile, and they scored quick tries and just hugely successful succession. Is that even a sentence? Not really, but that's what happens when you watch the Fijians play. It's just incredible to see what they do throughout the nets. Nadavalo, ball on the outside now. Natunu looking for the offload back up. Nice spin there from it was Dalgunu. Now wrestled down 22 meters out for their own line here. Fiji 10-0 up in this game. First receiver is the skipper. Back across once again, Rasaku. And all of a sudden, as soon as he decides he wants to go, he just goes through a gap. Insane acceleration. And that is going to be actually not Rasaku. It is instead going to be Bokayaro, who did end up going over for the try. And that is the third try of the match for Fiji. They will go into halftime with a 17-0 lead, and what will be sitting very nicely for the Flying Fijians. But England currently, they have to try and find a way back into this contest, but it's not going to be easy. As soon as Bukayaro decided that he wanted to accelerate, he was gone. No one was catching him. As much as Boylan wanted to, not happening. From there, and Tesla's like, woo. And there as well, but nicely done by Bukayaro, and also the Ric Flair, woo. And there's well, I would do it louder, but it is currently 6:15 a.m. here in New Zealand, so I might end up waking someone up accidentally. But nicely done by Fiji, 17-0. Going into halftime, the scoreboard's been a little bit off throughout a majority of the matches today, unfortunately, by the looks of it. But yeah, Leicester, they are leading up against Clermont, so they will be going through to the next round by the looks of it. And then alongside that, it is going to be a game a little bit later on tonight that has taken place, and that will be Ulster versus Toulouse. That kicks off in 40 minutes' time and should be a great game of rugby also. But they haven't had to actually unleash Jerry Tawai as of yet. Fiji, 3 tries, 3 visits to the opposition, 22, 5 offloads to the 0 of England, and that is just massive errors. 3 for England. They have not really been in this contest, but Fiji, they will do that to you. They don't give you too many chances at all. They've missed 5 tackles. England have made 1 tackle. They have missed 5 in the early stages. Line breaks, 3 for Fiji. Turnovers conceded, 3 against England. And then a restart, 1-1. Fiji, you'd have to say they have got the better of those stats by the looks of it on the board. Okay, 3 scores. Let's get 3 more, was the comment from the Fijian head coach. Well, that's one, but I'm looking forward to seeing Ioane Teba, Jerry Tawai coming off the bench. And also they have got their off the bench, I believe it is Ratu Rathiri, isn't it? He is going to be available for them to go to. But the Fijian supporters, they are in attendance for this game. They are banging the drum at the moment. And the Fijians, they are banging their way over the try line every chance that they do end up getting. The thing is, with such a close game between Australia, or sorry, not the Australians, USA and South Africa, not them, sorry, wrong sides again, between the USA and Kenya, it does mean that points differential could be absolutely huge for the Fijians. And back the pub garden was nice and busy as if on a nice warm Easter Sunday. Geez, that was the first stage of my voice disappearing, but also Easter Saturday evening. Sorry, I did end up going New Zealand time for that one. And Tosso. And in there as well, says Crazy as it. And there you do it very nicely for themselves currently, kicking it just the 10 metres, taken nicely by England. Boylan tackled in the air, and that is going to be going back for the penalty. In fact, it was Adamson now taking a quick tap here. It is Will Homer who has made his way on our halfway, at half-time. Now another penalty, and that time it's going to be for rolling too many times, and it will be Fiji this time who do end up receiving the penalty. But I hope you guys are all doing well. Hope you're excited. A lot of you guys in New Zealand, I assume, are just starting to wake up. 6:15 a.m. It's a late night, that is for sure, but we are continuing to go through for another 8 hours of it. And how's New Zealand doing? They did end up getting their first win over Japan, although it wasn't actually as easy of a contest as they would have liked. It was 40-14, which sounds relatively one-sided, but they were pushed in that game, and it was actually 14-7 at one point for Japan. Now, once again, another run forward for Adamson. Does a forward roly-poly. That's one way to try and get out of a tackle. Available for them. Now, passing it back across, it will be Homer off to Norton. Now, Boylan, in fact, it is their number 6 also going to start this match, Jamie Barton. They've got a lot of guys who look extremely similar, England, and go to sleep right now in there. Says Crazy, and I love the atmosphere at these Sevens comps. Everyone dressing up in costumes, etc. Do I dress up in a costume for tomorrow, maybe? Who knows? We'll see how we go. I feel like I got to try and find a costume that's not bad, because I've got a sumo suit, but I don't think I can wear that on a live stream. I feel like people would get very annoyed with that one. So maybe, I mean, we've got a few things. I got my Harry Potter one. I got the Santa outfit. It's not quite Christmas. I see a guy in the hot dog costume in the background. I'm passing it back across. Now, Nathaniel ball, nice and wide, taken beautifully. This will be the big man, Ioane Teba. Talatolo, is he in the lineup for this game, or am I thinking of the wrong guy? Talatolo, he is not there. Interesting. I wonder whether or not he is the last man going short side. Jerry Tawai, too much experience. In fact, it's Nafuna once again who does go over. I thought that was a Jerry Tawai play, but it's actually ended up being Nafuna. And as I just woke up, and there was says Crazy NZ, and you've woken up to some exciting games of rugby that are going to be taking place in a very short moment. The likes of this game, it is going to be an exciting one. And then from there, we've got South Africa versus Spain in the next matchup, which could actually end up being closer than we anticipated, possibly. Then alongside that, the next game after that we are covering, it will be Samoa versus Japan, New Zealand, Wales. That is going to be 7:55 a.m. The next game that we are going to be covering on the channel. And then that will actually be a lot later, though, because of the delays that we had due to the injury of Perry Baker, was knocked unconscious. But that is his 100th try for Wasia Nathunio. Very nicely done. He's taken off the field as well. Morning, bro, says riding high. Welcome in. The lights from out. Hope you are doing well. And Aussie winners New Zealand's next game. It is going to be 8:17 a.m. that New Zealand get to play next. Then after that, 9:04 will be Kenya versus Fiji. South Africa versus Canada taking place at 9:26 a.m. And then the next one after that we are covering, I believe, is New Zealand, Samoa, followed by the matchup between Fiji, USA, and then Australia, South Africa to close it out. So we've still got another 6 or 7. In fact, probably actually 10 now that I think about it. And we are going to be covering now. Dan Norton goes back across. Boyland is the first receiver here. They just need a way into this game, England, because currently the Fijians have been all over them. Now Joe Browning, unable to make his way forward. Currently, they've had a reset there. Dan Norton, he's just looking at it going, what do we do, boys? How do we get through this Fijian defense? They're just making all of their tackles that they attempt at the moment, Fiji. Dan Norton runs sideways. He has run more times sideways than forwards in this game. Nice little bit of footwork there now, though. And they are going through up the middle. It is going to be Jamie Barton. Good tackle on him. Dan Norton helping to protect that ball. England, they feel confident that they will be able to get at least one in this game. It's going to be another great tackle made. And I was on Bavardra. Now Homer offloading it back up. Nicely done by Joe Browning. Trying to make his way forward. Oh, I think there was a poke in the eye to one of the big Fijian players. It's another penalty. And thanks for streaming the same as she's running. No worries at all, mate. And yeah, we have got a lot of exciting games coming in the future. Dan Norton now down the wing. He has stepped, got back to his feet quick from Dan Norton. Explosive cat-like reflexes to get back up as quickly as he did there. Now on the 22, Barton goes back across to Homer. He goes through, and Will Homer, he will score the first try of the match for England. And that will give them a little bit of confidence going into the later stages of this match. Will Homer, he was a sub off the bench. And like I mentioned, a lot of the English players do look extremely similar. Like you'd have to argue Jamie Barton, Jamie Adamson, probably Boyland, and also here as well, you've got Homer. All of those guys could be brothers. And Homer Simpson gets the try in there. And I guess Fiji, they will be saying, "Dow." That was a terrible Homer Simpson impersonation, wasn't it? My voice is almost gone, though, so I feel like I'm allowed a little bit of a rough one every once in a while. And now, going to be 7 points to England, 22 to Fiji. Now, we'll forget that I did that Homer Simpson impersonation. That just doesn't exist anymore. But now, taken nicely. Now, Fiji got this one about 30 meters out from their line. A little bit of a gallop up the field by the looks of it by Matana. Finds a beautiful offload. And now pinning the ears back once again. It's going to be Rasaku. And does end up getting there. And also, you all look alike in there, as says Gareth for there. But yeah, the English side, they've gone with a whole heap of guys who could be twins, to be honest. But brilliantly done by Rasaku. Yeah, able to score himself his first try of this match. He's been very close a couple of times throughout it, but a brilliant offload from a man who's only just come out onto the field for Matana, as if he's been out there for the whole game. Nicely done for that one. Brilliant offload. And Rasahu, he steps around off Homer, and they were not catching him after that. Like they're saying, so tough to defend up against the Fijian offload. Like, how do you stop it when, like, there's just always another pass coming just around the corner? It's just missing away to the left-hand side. 50 seconds left in this game. 27 points to Fiji and 7 to England now. Now kicked off long for England, taking that one quite nicely on their own 22 with Love. Another try here. Homer passes it now across into the hands of Blake Boyland. Now it will be Bavardra on the 22. He's going through. Good low tackle. No missing the tackle on him. Rasahu, he's decided to just do it himself. In fact, sorry, it was actually Bavardra. Now good run forward. Dan Norton, whereabouts is he? He's not going to get the ball by the looks of it. And it's still just available for them now. I swear I heard someone knocking on the door there. Now, Going to be going back across here. Passed out wide. Nicely done. Once again, Joe Browning dribbled backwards. That's going to be full time, I believe. Or is it? No, they're going back for the initial penalty to England. So they're not going to be too bad for themselves with one last attacking opportunity to try and get that points differential up a little bit more in their favour. Nice ball out to Homer. Now one more. Blake Boylan goes in for the corner. He's going to score the try, and that will be just a little bit of an icing on the cake that has already been eaten by Fiji for England, because Fiji get themselves the win. They get the points in there as well. Very nicely done. Will Homer, since coming on the field, he's actually been one of the keys for England, you'd have to argue, throughout this game. But Fiji, we are covering their next game that has taken place, ladies and gentlemen. That will be their matchup up against Kenya, and that will be at 9:04 a.m. It's going to be an exciting fixture, so be sure to tune in for that one, and it is just around the corner. The next game that we are doing will be South Africa. They will be taking on Spain in their next fixture. But I do thank you all very much for tuning in. The full-time score of this game, 27 points to 12, and we will now be transferring over to our Blitzbox versus Spain live stream. But thank you all very much for tuning in. If you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Be sure to check out the Kiwi Lads Sport channel as well in the pinned comment, and I will see you all